In the deepest parts of our planet, far below the surface, there are places where sunlight has never reached. These environments are silent, cold, and completely dark. For decades, scientists believed that life powered by light simply could not exist in places like these. Photosynthesis, the process that fuels plants and algae on Earth, has always depended on sunlight. Without light, photosynthesis should be impossible, and without photosynthesis, entire ecosystems cannot exist. But deep beneath the desert of New Mexico, a discovery forced scientists to rethink this idea completely. Under the rocky landscape of the Chihuahuan Desert lies a vast network of underground caves. These caves are part of Carlsbad Caverns National Park. They began forming between 4 and 11 million years ago. Instead of being carved by water, these caves were created by sulfuric acid slowly dissolving limestone rock. Over millions of years, enormous underground chambers formed, filled with towering stone formations. Stalactites stretch downward from the ceilings. Stalagmites slowly rise from the cave floors. Some of the chambers are so large, they feel like cathedrals hidden beneath the earth. Every year, hundreds of thousands of visitors explore the more accessible parts of these caves. But beyond the lit pathways, deeper sections remain almost completely untouched. In these regions, darkness becomes absolute. Even standing a few meters away, objects disappear. For scientists studying underground life, these caves are an incredible natural laboratory. Microorganisms often survive in extreme environments where larger life cannot exist. But one observation inside these caves was particularly strange. On a section of cave wall, scientists noticed a thin layer of bright green microbes. The color was unmistakable. Bright green is usually associated with plants or organisms that use photosynthesis. But there was a problem. These microbes were living in complete darkness. At first glance, this seemed impossible. Photosynthesis normally requires visible sunlight. Plants and most photosynthetic organisms use a molecule called chlorophyll. This pigment absorbs light energy from the visible spectrum. The captured energy is used to convert carbon dioxide and water into sugars and oxygen. It is the foundation of most life on Earth. Yet inside these caves, sunlight never reaches the depths where the microbes were found. So how were they surviving? To answer that question, researchers analyzed the microbes growing on the cave walls. The organisms turned out to be cyanobacteria. Cyanobacteria are among the oldest life forms on Earth. They appeared billions of years ago and played a crucial role in shaping our atmosphere. Normally, cyanobacteria use sunlight to power photosynthesis. But these cave-dwelling microbes had a unique adaptation. Instead of relying on standard chlorophyll, they used different forms of the molecule. These versions are known as chlorophyll D and chlorophyll F. Unlike ordinary chlorophyll, these pigments can capture energy from near-infrared light. Near-infrared light exists just beyond the range of human vision. Our eyes cannot see it, but it is still a form of light energy. And this is where the caves revealed their secret. The limestone rock that forms these caverns absorbs most visible light. But near-infrared light behaves very differently. Instead of being absorbed, it reflects and scatters through the cave walls. The entire cave becomes something like a natural hall of mirrors for infrared light. Even in deep darkness, tiny amounts of this invisible radiation continue to travel through the rock. When scientists measured light levels deep inside the caves, they made a surprising discovery. Near-infrared light was present even in areas that appeared completely dark to human eyes. In fact, in some sections, the levels of near-infrared light were hundreds of times higher than expected. This faint, invisible light was enough to power photosynthesis. The cyanobacteria were quietly harvesting energy from radiation humans cannot see. They had adapted to survive in conditions once thought impossible. Even more surprising, The highest concentrations of these microbes appeared in the darkest parts of the cave, places where sunlight had likely never reached for millions of years. This meant something extraordinary. Photosynthesis was not limited to bright sunlight. Life could potentially survive on far weaker and different types of light than scientists believed. And that realization immediately raised an even bigger question. What does this mean for life beyond Earth? In our galaxy, the most common stars are not like our Sun. Our Sun belongs to a category known as G-type stars. These stars emit strong visible light. But G-type stars are actually relatively rare. The most common stars in the Milky Way are red dwarfs. These stars are cooler and much smaller than the Sun. Instead of producing large amounts of visible light, they emit much of their energy in the infrared range. After all, photosynthesis seemed to require strong visible sunlight. But the cave microbes changed that assumption. If life can perform photosynthesis using near-infrared light, then red dwarf stars suddenly become far more interesting. Planets orbiting these stars could potentially host organisms adapted to the same kind of light. And since red dwarfs are the most common stars in our galaxy, the implications are enormous. There may be far more places where life could exist than scientists previously imagined. A discovery made in a dark cave on Earth might help guide the search for life across the cosmos. And future telescopes, like the James Webb Space Telescope, are already studying distant planets in detail. By analyzing the light reaching those worlds, scientists can estimate whether conditions might allow life. But to do that accurately, researchers first need to understand the limits of life on Earth. How little light is truly enough for photosynthesis? What is the longest wavelength that life can use? To answer these questions, researchers continue exploring the darkest caves on our planet. Because sometimes, the secrets of distant worlds are hidden in the most unlikely places on Earth. In the silent darkness beneath the desert, tiny organisms are quietly rewriting the rules of life. And they may be telling us something profound. Life in the universe might not need bright sunlight. It might only need a little invisible light and enough time to adapt. Somewhere in the galaxy, in the faint glow